Have you ever heard about the lost generation? Eh? I am Edward. This is my channel, Edu Leitor e Escritor. And it's a pleasure that I can be here to talk to you about one more book. And today I am here to talk to you about The Sun Also Rises. And I am talking about the lost generation because The Sun Also Rises is about is a book about the lost generation. Um, Ernest Hemingway, The Sun Also Rises author, um, is known as a member of the lost generation. Um, this is not a club, but looking at them with a certain way, you can imagine that these men and women were a club because they didn't have a style to live that from it we can believe that they lived so differently, so uh, impressionantly engaging with the pleasure. They were something like outsider, uh, someone uh, between them were outsiders. And The Sun Also Rises um, is a book by Ernest Hemingway, the American author Ernest Hemingway. Um, and The Sun Also Rises uh, always has been considered one of the most important books by Ernest Hemingway. Um, the Sun Also Rises is so interesting, is so intriguing because this story is powerful to reach uh, our soul, maybe not as you think, uh, maybe with no extreme emotion, but because the letters that Ernest Hemingway used to build this story uh, the way that he make the personages take place, uh, maybe these ways may not be so uh, full of emotions, but what we see there uh, in this story that Hemingway uh, make to take place in Europe is so interesting because Hemingway puts Jake Barnes, Mrs. Brett Ashley, um, Robert Kahn as the main personages, uh, and the narrative happens there in Europe. And the beginning of the story is in Paris because Hemingway was a man uh, passionate for Paris. Uh, you can imagine, you can provoke me saying that Hemingway was a man uh, passionate for Europe in general, and you are right. But certainly uh, Paris was so special for Hemingway. Uh, and Hemingway begins the story there in Paris, uh, and the story started to be happen there in Paris, and Jake Barnes and Mrs. Brett Ashley uh, have uh, some conversations, glimpses, uh, glimpses of the things that are concerned to each one of them, and Robert Kahn uh, joined to Dan and Mike and Bill Gordon. And so this is something like they were being a team. Uh, and we can see dances and wines. We can see them between wines and dances and discussions about marriage and datings and friendship and so interesting. So when you read, we start to read The Sun Also Rises, even we don't see, we don't understand automatically. We are seeing the lost generation because they were having one example of the lost generation that was taken place in Europe after the World War One. And Jake Barnes was a man that fighted in the war. And now we have a change, an important change that is when this species of team, this kind of team, uh, this group of friends, and they decided to travel to Pamplona in Spain. And now observe something. Ernest Hemingway was fascinated for Spain. So Hemingway had the idea that is put them in Pamplona. So they arrive to Pamplona with different ways. And during the book, we can follow the way that some of them reach Pamplona. And when they are in Pamplona, we have the most important happenings of the book. And now in Pamplona, Jake Barnes, Brett Ashley, Robert Kahn, Mike and Bill, and mainly the first three that were a trio in love, in feelings of love, something like this. Jake Barnes, Mrs. Brett Ashley, and Robert Kahn, they can manifestate passion, jealous, admiration. The admiration may understood something like as Jake Barnes and Mrs. Bradley and Robert Kahn, they manifestate passion and jealousy. Do you understand? So we have a conflict between jealous, passion, admiration. Uh, so we have in The Sun Also Rises uh, a reverberation of what happens in The Great Gatsby. Uh, in a certain way, The Sun Also Rises is reflects of The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald was a member of the Lost Generation too. Um, so when we talk about The Sun Also Rises, we have Tourada. We have this culture, bulls that are used to continue the culture of Tourada. And we have Romero Romero is the man of Tourada. He is the Tourada's man. He is important in this book because he really, he really, uh, he really causes something very, very complicated to Mrs. Brett Ashley. And about it, we feel so impressioned. How can that man make the trio more confused? He all he almost devastated the trio, and we already have the trio's problem. And now we have Romero to take place too. But now this is a great. Now I can say one more time. We have a great book by Ernest Hemingway. Okay? Thanks for following me. Bye.